Hey everybody, and welcome back to Let's Play Mass Effect. A word of warning right at the beginning. If it seems like I forgot about stuff that I said last episode, that might be because I haven't played in 2 days, and that's enough for me to, well, forget things. Just so you don't wonder too much. Right, I do remember seeing this, or actually not this, but I think there's another codex entry to be found somewhere around here. That's actually easily missable if you don't... Oh, yeah. Oh. Oh, okay. Looks like there are at least 2 different spots you can interact with, but you have to look a pretty particular way. That's interesting. Okay. So... 2 new codex entries. Actually, did I... Oh, thrusters. Wow. Okay, I'm pressing A. Oh, and now I get the codex. That's... Okay, I don't know what that was. That one was really easily missable, holy crap. I assume that was all there was? Okay, I guess we start out this episode with reading some codex. Oh, in fact... Huh. I guess I'll read off whatever's in here first. Cruisers? We had cruisers before, right? Fighters, frigates, sensors... Ah, okay. Thrusters and armor are here. So, starships, thrusters. A Mass Effect drive core decreases the mass of a bubble of spacetime around a ship. Yeah, that's what I gathered. This gives the ship the potential to move quickly, but does not apply any motive power. Ships use their sublight thrusters for motive power at FTL. There are several varieties of thruster varying in performance versus economy. All ships are equipped with arrays of hydrogen-oxygen reaction control thrusters for maneuvering. Ion drives electrically accelerate charged particles as a reaction mass. They're extremely efficient, but produce negligible thrust. They're mainly used for automated cargo barges. Okay. The primary commercial engine is a fusion torch, which vents the plasma of the ship's power plant. Fusion torches offer powerful acceleration at the cost of difficult heat management. Torch fuel is fairly cheap, helium-3 skimmed from gas giants and deuterium extracted from seawater or cometary bodies. Propellant is hydrogen, likewise skimmed from gas giants. In combat, military vessels require acceleration beyond the capability of fusion torches. Warship thrusters inject antiprotons into a reaction chamber filled with hydrogen. The matter-antimatter annihilation provides unmatched motive power. The drawback is fuel production. Antiprotons must be manufactured 1 particle at a time. Most antimatter production is done at massive solar arrays orbiting energetic stars, making them high-value targets in wartime. The exhaust of fusion and antiproton drives is measured in millions of degrees Celsius. Any vessel caught behind them will melt like wax in a blowtorch. Any long-duration interstellar flight consists of 2 phases, acceleration and deceleration. Starships accelerate to the halfway point of their journey, then flip 180 degrees and apply thrust on the opposite vector, decelerating as they finish the trip. The engines are always operating and peak speed is attained at the middle of the flight. Right. Just as I was reading this part about harvesting gases, or yeah, extracting gases from, or no, it says skimming gases from gas giants, I guess. Well, it doesn't really matter. I got that idea of maybe a sci-fi story set in a very far, in a very far future, where a civilization has been using this method to harvest fuel from gas giants, for example, the gas giants in our solar system, to the extent that those planets have been almost used up. And what that would mean? I don't know. Might be an interesting idea. At least it seems that way to me. Maybe it's not that interesting. Anyway, weapons, ablative armor. A warship's kinetic barriers reduce the damage from solid objects, but can do nothing to block guardian lasers, particle beams, and other forms of directed energy weapon, DEW. The inner layer of warship protection consists of ablative armor plate designed to boil away when heated. The vaporized armor material scatters a DEW beam, rendering it ineffectual. A scaffold is built around the interior pressure hull with sheets of ablative armor hung from the structures. Ships typically have multiple layers of armor separated by empty baffles. Space is often used for cargo storage. Cruisers, which lack the internal space to fit dedicated fighter hangars, store the shipboard fighter compartment in the baffles. It is not unknown for an enlisted crew to build illicit alcohol distilleries in some obscure corner of the baffle, safe from prying eyes. Huh. That's a good concept. Makes sense. Okay, and we have one more entry in here.
Combat heart.
Mass accelerators.
A mass accelerator propels a solid metal slug using precisely controlled electromagnetic attraction and repulsion. The slug is designed to squash or shatter on impact, increasing the energy it transfers to the target. If this were not the case, it would simply punch a hole right through, doing minimal damage. Accelerator design was revolutionized by Element Zero. A slug lightened by a mass effect field can be accelerated to greater speeds, permitting projectile velocities that were previously unattainable. If accelerated to a high enough velocity, a simple paint chip can impact with the same destructive force as a nuclear weapon. However, mass accelerators produce recoil equal to their impact energy. This is mitigated somewhat by the mass effect fields that rounds are suspended within. But weapon recoil is still the prime limiting factor on slug velocity.
Well, this is a pretty similar article to the Small Arms one, right?
Infantry weapons, from pistols to assault rifles,
that is using the same principle. Okay. While we're in the menu, let's take a look at our quests. Actually, right. I went over this quickly off camera. So these are our 3 main quests, the 3 leads that we got. And in the dialogue, I decided to do this first. I'm still going to, but well, I guess we'll see whether I'm allowed to choose any of the others instead if I wanted to. Right. I'm going to go after this quest first because I think I got the feeling, and well, I guess there's not much of a question about that Liara is going to be our final crew member. So I want to recruit her as early as possible just because. Why not? I mean, I might want to use her. Possibly. Then we have this, and honestly I don't remember where I even got this quest. Newsvids indicate that... I guess I must have watched that video? Newsvids indicate that a survey team in the Hades Gamma Cluster recently dropped out of contact. Go to the Hades Gamma Cluster and find out what happened to them. Right. Travel to the Antaeus system in the Hades Gamma Cluster to look for the missing survey team. Yeah, I don't know. Right. I never met that fan again. Who knows what's up with that? Strange transmissions, right. Well, I guess I should take a look at the ship first. Let's see how things are in here, what I can do, how the actual space navigation even works.
Decontamination in progress.
I heard what happened to Captain Anderson. Survives 100 battles and then gets taken down by backroom politics. Just watch your back, Commander. Things go bad on this mission, you're next on their chopping block.
I guess. Feels wrong. Well, yeah, it does feel wrong that he would just... I mean, couldn't we basically switch places and he would become second in command? You know, I don't know.
Captain Anderson should be the one in charge. It's like I'm stealing the ship from him.
I mean,
Yeah, the captain
I
got
guess it makes
screwed.
sense that I'm in
It's not
charge,
like you
but...
could've stopped it. Nobody's blaming you. Everyone on this ship's behind you, Commander. 100%. Intercom's open. If you got anything you want to say to the crew, now's the time.
Now we do things my way. Finally. That would be a 180-degree turn after what I just said. Well, I guess I need to be honest with them. This is going to be dangerous.
This is Commander Shepard speaking.
We have our orders. Find Saren before he finds the conduit. I won't lie to you, crew. This mission isn't going to be easy.
Right. Humanity must do its part. Yeah, that's maybe a little bit too much pathos. Eden Prime was just the start, probably, yeah?
This began with an attack on a human settlement in the Traverse.
But we know Saren won't stop there. His Geth armies aren't going to stay on the far fringes of Citadel space.
Humanity must do its part. I mean, yeah. It's more like we must do our part, no matter if we're humans or not. I mean, yeah, Saren is targeting humans specifically, but I mean, he won't stop to make sure non-humans aren't hurt when he's attacking a human colony, right? Assuming there are any non-humans present. Saren will be ready? Yeah, I guess.
Our enemy knows we're coming.
Wherever he searches for the conduit, we'll be there. We will hunt him to the very ends of the galaxy and bring him down.
Well said. Everyone is counting on us. We must not fail. I don't know. Let's just go
This is
with
the
it.
most important mission any of us have ever been on.
The fate of an entire galaxy is at stake. We will stop Saren, no matter what the cost.
Well said, Commander. Captain will be proud.
Very moving. Captain would be proud. Yeah, I mean, again, why he can't just come along to provide valuable expertise, because, you know, he's been doing this job a lot longer than anyone else on board. But oh well. Yeah.
The captain gave up everything so I could have this chance. We can't fail.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Alright. Oh, viewport, look outside. Okay. Well. We'll have to make sure I'm not missing
Commander.
anything.
Something you need?
Sure.
How's the Normandy performing? Is she everything they said she'd be?
She's the best ship in the fleet.
I mean, I know
If
the
you've
ship,
got a pilot
right?
who knows how to handle her. Balance isn't what you'd expect. Takes a while to get used to that oversized drive core we got stuffed in the back, and her power can sneak up on you if you're not careful. The Normandy's probably too much ship for your average Alliance pilot, Commander. Lucky for you, I'm anything but average.
Well, yeah, I mean, fair enough. This is an experimental ship, and I guess the entire crew has not been on board very long, so... Can we just talk a bit more?
I like to know my crew. Mind if I ask you a few questions?
I can see where this is going. You did a background check on me, didn't you? Well, I'll tell you the
I don't
same
know.
thing I told the captain. You want me as your pilot. I'm not good. I'm not even great. I am the best damn helmsman in the Alliance fleet. Top of my class in flight school, I earned that. All those commendations in my file, I earned every single one. Those weren't given to me as charity for my disease.
Are you contagious? I wish I knew if he was going to say this ironically. Because I don't know. That would be funny. But I don't trust this.
I'm sorry, Joker. I didn't even know you were sick.
You mean you didn't know?
Nope.
Oh, crap.
Yeah.
Okay, I've got Vrolik syndrome, brittle bone disease. The bones in my legs never develop properly. They're basically hollow, too much force and they'll shatter. Even with crutches and my leg braces, it's hard to get around. One wrong step and crack! It's very dramatic. But I've learned to manage my condition, Commander. Put the Normandy in my hands and I'll make her dance for you. Just don't ask me to get up and dance unless, you like the sound of snapping shin bones.
Well, that is kind of pleasant. No, not really. Seems a bit weird that far advanced technology and, medical science can't treat that, or, there should be a way to implant, like, I don't know, metal supporting structures into the bones, or at least have some kind of exoskeleton or something like that. Anyway.
Why does everyone call you Joker?
It's a lot shorter than saying Alliance Flight Lieutenant Jeff Moreau. Plus, I love to make little children laugh.
I mean, you could just say Jeff.
I was just thinking how much you remind me of Santa Claus.
Look, I didn't pick the name. One of the instructors in flight school used to bug me about never smiling. She started calling me Joker, and it stuck.
Why didn't you ever smile?
Hey, I worked my ass off in flight school, Commander. The world's not gonna hand you anything if you go around grinning like an idiot. By the end of the year, I was the best pilot in the academy, even better than the instructors, and everybody knew it. They'd all got their asses kicked by the sickly kid with the creaky little legs. One guess who was smiling at graduation?
Oh, okay. Personal history? Is that not the same?
How'd you end up joining the Alliance?
Oh.
Look, if you're looking for an inspirational tale of the crippled kid overcoming impossible odds, you're gonna be disappointed. My mother was a civilian contractor working for the Alliance. I basically grew up on the Arcturus station back when they were building up the fleets. Spend all that time around Alliance ships, there's a good chance you'll end up going to the Academy.
Makes sense. I don't know. Do I want to ask more about his disease? I think I know all I need to.
I have to go.
I'm sure he doesn't particularly like talking about it. Except, now I don't know if maybe talking to him about that would unlock something more.
Commander,
let's take a quick
something
look.
you need?
I need to know more about this Vrolik syndrome if I'm putting my ship in your hands.
Yeah, see, that sounds a bit rude.
It's an extremely rare condition. Nobody knows exactly what causes it. Genetic, maybe. It's treatable, but there's no cure. They classify my case as moderate to severe. I was born with over a dozen fractures, hip, thighs, ankles. My bones were already breaking in the womb. 100 years ago, I wouldn't have survived past my first year. Lucky for me, modern medical science has turned me into a productive member of society.
Huh. Well, okay. Yeah, I would just be thinking that, I don't know, there should be a way to do more. You know, to prevent his legs from snapping just from, I don't know, stepping, making a wrong step, basically. I don't know. Maybe he was exaggerating it. It's not quite that bad, but then again, how do you do your job? I mean, well,
I'm not trying to make you uncomfortable. Let's talk about something else.
Right.
Whatever you want, Commander.
I have to go.
Alright, see you.
Okay. I'm just going to assume that that was all I could have gained from that. I mean, I already got, like, what, two or even 4 codex entries. Wait. Primary, yes.
Pharos is a The terminus systems are located on the far side of the Attican Traverse, beyond the space administered by the Citadel Council or claimed by the Human Systems Alliance. It is populated by a loose affiliation of minor species, united only in their refusal to acknowledge the political authority of the Council or adhere to the Citadel conventions. Their independence comes at a price. The terminus is fraught with conflict. War.
I think we have. I thought this was also highlighted, but maybe I'm wrong.
The Normandy is a prototype starship developed by the Human Systems Alliance with the assistance of the Citadel Council. It is optimized for scouting and reconnaissance missions in unstable regions using state-of-the-art stealth technology. For most ships, the heat generated through standard operations is easily detectable against the absolute zero background of space. The Normandy, however, is able to temporarily sink this heat within the hull. Combined with refrigeration of the exterior hull, the ship can travel undetected for hours or drift passively for days of covert observation. This is not without risk. The stored heat must eventually be radiated, or it will build to levels capable of cooking the crew alive. Another component of the stealth system is the Normandy's revolutionary Tantalus drive, a Mass Effect core twice the standard size. The Tantalus drive generates mass concentrations that the Normandy falls into, allowing it to move without the use of heat-emitting thrusters.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, I thought there were 2 entries unlocked, but maybe... I don't know. Oh. Again, I somehow missed the flashing of the secondary tab there. Ah, okay, it was here. Derp. Arcturus Station. Arcturus Station is the gateway to Sol, a 5 kilometer diameter Stanford Torus type space station at the trailing Lagrange point of the gas giant Themis. Construction on Arcturus Station began in 2151 and concluded in 2162. It was inaugurated in 2156 and has served as the military and political headquarters of the Systems Alliance from the First Contact War until the present. When humanity activated the Charon mass relay in 2149, it led to Arcturus 36 light-years from Sol, Earth's sun. Arcturus is the 3rd brightest star seen from Earth. It is an ancient red giant from the generation born before Sol. Its worlds are either gas giants or ice chunks, while some rocky debris exists, the metal content is 25% lower than normal. To build Arcturus Station, metallic asteroids were towed through the mass relays to the construction site. Many of these asteroids remain near the station, their mined-out areas home to transient populations. The expense of bringing construction materials into the system was acceptable due to its strategic value. With three primary mass relays in addition to the secondary one to Sol, Arcturus is a major communications and military choke point. The Alliance First Fleet is based in Arcturus, where it can guard the gates to Sol and react to incursions in the three connected clusters. The station also hosts the Systems Alliance Parliament and the Systems Alliance Military General Headquarters. Its permanent population is approximately 45,000. Arcturus is actually from the galactic halo, one of a cluster of 52 stars that are crashing through the disk of the galaxy. Arcturus is actually from the galactic halo? Okay, from the galactic halo, so not the... Okay, I see. One of a cluster of 52 stars that are crashing through the disk of the galaxy. In a billion years, Arcturus will be sailing through the depths of extragalactic dark space. I don't know why that sentence gave me so much trouble. Ships and vehicles. What? Was it the first one? Oh yeah, FTL drive appearance. New space travelers ask, what does it look like outside a ship moving at faster than light speed? Part of the answer can be seen in a simple pane of glass. Light travels slower through glass than it does through open air. Light also moves slower in conventional space than it does in a high-speed mass effect field. This causes refraction. Any light entering at an angle is bent and separated into a spectrum. Objects outside the ship will appear refracted. The greater the difference between the objective exterior and subjective interior speeds of light, the greater the refraction. As the subjective speed of light is raised within the field, objects outside will appear to redshift, eventually becoming visible only to radio telescope antennae. High-energy electromagnetic sources normally hidden to the eye become visible in the high blue spectrum. As the speed of light continues to be raised, X-ray, gamma-ray, and eventually cosmic ray sources become visible. Stars will be replaced by pulsars, the accretion disks of black holes, quasars, and gamma-ray bursts. To an outside observer, a ship within a Mass Effect drive envelope appears blue-shifted. If within a field that allows travel at twice the speed of light, any radiation it emits has twice the energy as normal. If the ship is in a field of about 200 times light speed, it radiates visible light as X-rays and gamma rays, and the infrared heat from the hull is blue-shifted up into the visible spectrum or higher. Ships moving at FTL are visible at great distances, though their signature will only propagate at the speed of light. That's really fascinating. And actually, all those normally invisible radiation types becoming visible, that must be an amazing sight. Can we please talk to you? Okay, nothing's happening again. Please tell me this mod isn't acting up. No? Button works here. Yeah, I can't talk to him. Huh. Okay. Let's look around a little bit more. Actually, let's take a look at the galaxy map. Oh, I got a codex entry just for walking around. What?
The Citadel. Citadel space is an unofficial term referring to any region of space controlled by a species that acknowledges the authority of the Citadel Council. At first glance, it appears this territory encompasses most of the galaxy. In reality, however, less than 1% of the stars have been explored. Even Mass Effect FTL drive is slow relative to the volume of the galaxy. Empty space and systems without suitable drive discharge sites are barriers to exploration. Only the mass relays allow ships to jump hundreds of light years in an instant, the key to expanding across an otherwise impassable galaxy. Whenever a new relay is activated, the destination system is rapidly developed. From that hub, FTL drive is used to expand to nearby star clusters. The result is a number of densely developed clusters, thinly spread across the vast expanse of space, connected by the mass relay network.
I mean, 1% of the stars of the galaxy, that's still a lot. I mean, it is only 1%, but it's still a huge number of stars. I actually forget the approximate number. Yeah, I hope that's really just a display bug with Presley here. And that there is not actually supposed to be any dialogue. Maybe he's going to talk to me if I try to interact with the space map, or the galaxy map, or whatever. Space map. Which I said I wanted to do just now, but I guess I decided to look around some more first. Hey Caden, sorry for kicking you off the team.
Anything you need, Commander?
I don't know.
Just trying to get a sense of where the crew's at. Thoughts?
I've wasted enough of your time for now, Commander. We'll have time for personal debriefings later.
Okay. Well, why is he suddenly so quiet though?
What's your opinion on the last mission?
What mission?
I don't see how we could have done things any better. At least not without getting to Eden Prime sooner. And
Oh,
we
that.
were on the scene faster than any other Alliance ship could have been.
He's still so quiet though. Well, okay.
We'll talk another time, Lieutenant.
Commander?
This used to be the captain's room, right? Okay. Well, I guess this is going to be another reading-heavy episode. I hope you don't mind too much. Systems Alliance military ranks. The Alliance uses a modified version of the ranking system that has been used for hundreds of years. Soldiers are classified into rank and file, enlisted personnel, experienced non-commissional officers, NCOs, and specially trained officers. Whoops. The divide between naval personnel and ground forces, Marines, is small. Ground units are a specialized branch of the fleet, just as fighter squadrons are. This unity of command is imposed by the futility of fighting without control of orbit. Without the Navy, any army is pointless. The Marines, as a matter of pride, maintain some of their traditional rank titles. For example, Marines have privates and corporals instead of servicemen. In ascending order of responsibility, the ranks of the Alliance are enlisted, serviceman 3rd class, private 2nd class, serviceman 2nd... Oh, okay. Serviceman or private 3rd class, 2nd class... Ah, okay, I see. Private 1st class, serviceman 1st class is a corporal. NCOs, service chief, gunnery chief, operations chief, officers, 2nd lieutenant, 1st lieutenant, staff lieutenant, lieutenant commander, staff commander, captain or major, rear admiral, general, admiral, and fleet admiral. Alright. Yeah, military ranks. Definitely not my strong suit. Especially, well, I guess actually the military ranks I'm most familiar with are those in the US military, I guess. Those used in the English, by English speakers, I guess. Not... Wait. Recovered items. Okay, I see. Just got some extra weapons from this locker for some reason. Alright, the Mad Bay. Oh yeah, this is, of course, this is where I started after the intro sequence. I was about to say, why did I never go here? But of course I did. I went from here. Yeah, I'm going to talk to her in a moment. I thought there was... Oh, right, aid station. Yeah, okay. We got a codex entry for one of those earlier. What was I going to say? Well, first of all, we got a codex here for the N7? N7? The Alliance Military Vocational Code System classifies the career paths of all serving personnel. The MVC consists of one letter and one number. A soldier's MVC indicates proficiency, not rank. The letter notes career path. The number indicates level of experience, as indicated by service record. Technical scores and commendations. All 26 letters are used, and numbers run from 1 to 7. N is the letter code for Special Forces personnel. I see. Okay, so the N7 guess we had an we had an N7 on our starting equipment. So we are the highest rank or the highest class we can be.
Yes, Commander.
Within our
Is there something
our branch.
you
Let's see.
How did you end up serving on an Alliance
Wait,
ship?
I asked her
need? I
that.
enlisted right out of meds.
Yeah.
But humanity needs the Alliance if we want to keep expanding through the Traverse.
About
And the
Caden?
Alliance always needs good doctors. So I stayed on to do
How
that.
well do you know the Lieutenant?
I'd never worked with him before this mission. But he has an impressive tends to keep to himself, though. Maybe because of the headaches. It's not easy being an L2.
L2.
What does that have to do with it?
Well, most biotics now
right.
use the L3 implants. Lieutenant Alenko was wired with the old L2
Right.
configuration.
Yeah, okay, so seems like
Sometimes there
we
are
don't have anything new
I
with
should
her.
go.
Goodbye, Commander.
Alright, what else? Sleeping pods. Ah, right. I guess they didn't want to overwhelm the player with all these codex entries the first time around. Because these all these entries definitely weren't available when I first explored the Normandy. Right. Oh. Okay. Hey, Rex.
Nice ship you've got, Shepard.
Yeah.
What can I do for you?
What's your story, Rex?
There's no story.
Oh, come on.
Go ask the Quarian if you want stories.
Come on.
You Krogan live for centuries. Don't tell me you haven't had a few interesting adventures.
Well, there was this one time the Turians almost wiped out our entire race. That was fun.
Big deal. Get over it. Well, that is more than unfortunate.
They tried the same with us, but we fought them off.
We fought
Not
them
the
off.
same.
It seems pretty much the same to me.
So your people were infected with a genetic mutation? An infection that makes only a few in 1,000 children survive birth?
I mean,
And I suppose it's destroying your entire species?
yeah, I see his point, of course. And obviously I had no control over what my character would be saying. If I had remembered those codex entries from earlier. But, I mean, they do have the little tiny benefit of living for hundreds of years, as opposed to maybe 100, to make up for their low birth rates.
I suppose it isn't all the same.
I don't expect you to understand, but don't compare humanity's fate with the Krogan.
Yeah, okay, dude. I guess it is a touchy subject. I mean, I can't really blame him.
Sorry, Rex. I wasn't trying to get you upset.
No, definitely
Your
not.
ignorance doesn't upset me, Shepard. As for the Krogan, I gave up on them long ago. The genophage infected us, but it's not what's killing us.
What can you tell me about the genophage?
Ask the Solarians if you want details. They made it.
Well, I don't think we have a
Oh, I
Solarian
know.
on board.
It makes breeding nearly impossible. Thousands die in stillbirth, and most never get that far. Every Krogan is infected. Every one. And no one's rushing to find a cure.
Yeah, that's weird.
Why don't the Krogan try to find a cure?
When was the last time you saw a Krogan scientist?
Well, considering you're the first I
Ask
saw.
a Krogan. Would he rather find a cure for the genophage or fight for credits? He'll choose fighting every time. It's just who we are, Shepard. I can't change that. Nobody can.
I mean, you can still hire people to do research for you, right? Kill people for money and use that money to pay someone to find a cure for your entire species? Seems like a worthwhile enough investment. But, I mean, I'm no Krogan, so
Are
who am I to
people
judge?
really dying?
We're sure not getting any stronger. We're too spread out. None of us are interested in staying in our own system.
Lots of species have left their homes and prospered.
But they go to colonize new worlds. We're not settlers. We're warriors. We want to fight. So we leave. Hire ourselves out. And most of us never go back.
So long, Rex.
Oh.
Shepard.
Man, that's a gloomy fella. Oh, right. Ah, yes, okay. I could switch around people's equipment. But actually I thought there was at some point during last episode I was thinking about changing someone's equipment once I get the chance. Maybe I was going to look into Ashley's equipment. But I mean, I'm not going to take her on the next mission, I don't think. So
Commander?
It doesn't really matter, I guess. How are we doing? Can we talk? I don't know.
Do you have a few minutes to talk one-on-one?
I'm sorry, Commander. I need to get my duty squared away. I wouldn't mind talking more later, though.
Alright.
What's your opinion on the last mission?
Kinda wish you'd got there sooner, Commander. No offense, I appreciate the rescue. I just wish...
You wish we'd been able to save the rest of your unit?
Yes, sir. If I had been more alert, we wouldn't have been cut down by an ambush.
Well, yeah, of course I couldn't know.
The Geth are perfect ambushers. They don't move, they don't make noise, they don't even breathe.
Sir, they have flashlight heads. I'll make sure it doesn't happen again.
Well, that wasn't very good motivation, I guess.
What's your opinion on the last mission?
Kinda wish... No offense, I appreciate the rescue. I just wish...
Can we just repeat that? That
if I
makes
had
no
been
sense.
more alert, we wouldn't have been cut down by an ambush.
We never trained to fight synthetics. The Geth haven't gone beyond the Veil in 3 centuries.
Yeah.
Our training's supposed to make us able to adapt. I'll make sure it doesn't happen again.
Okay.
Dismissed,
Well,
Chief.
whatever. I guess that dialogue didn't ultimately have too much of an impact. Okay, we already looked at the, whatchamacallit, Mako.
Thanks for bringing me on board, Commander. I knew
sure.
working with the Spectre would be better than life at CSEC.
Have you worked with a Spectre before?
Well, no, but I know what they're like. Spectres make their own rules. You're free to handle things your way. At CSEC, you're buried by rules. The damn bureaucrats are always on your back.
I guess, yeah. But then, I mean, rules are not all bad. They are there for a reason. But obviously, they do make things more difficult. Should I sympathize with him here? I guess I kind of do.
Being a Spectre does have its advantages.
Well, yeah, it sure does.
Exactly my point. If I'm trying to take down a suspect, it shouldn't matter how I do it, as long as I do it.
I mean,
But CSEC
within
wants
limits.
it done their way. Protocol and procedure come first. That's why I left.
So you just quit because you didn't like the way they do things?
There's more to it than that. It didn't start out bad, but as I rose in ranks, I got saddled with more and more red tape. CSEC's handling of Saren was typical. I just couldn't take it anymore. I hate leaving.
I hope you made the right choice. I'd hate for you to regret it later.
Well, that's sort of why I teamed up with you. It's a chance for me to get off the Citadel, see how things are done outside CSEC. Either way, I plan to make the most of this. And without CSEC headquarters looking over my shoulder, well, maybe I can get the job done my way for a change.
His way. Well, yeah, I mean, so long as his way is my way, I'm totally fine with that. Huh.
If getting the
Let's see.
job done means endangering innocent people, then no. We get the job done right, not fast. Got it?
I mean,
wasn't
ideally
trying.
both.
I understand, Commander.
Well, it is important that we're clear on that. I didn't necessarily mean to, you know, scold him or anything. I don't think I have any money, actually, to spend on anything worthwhile. Well, I mean, it doesn't really hurt to look.
Looking for supplies?
Yeah. I guess.
How often will you get new items?
Oh.
Well, that depends. And any time. Check back often.
Right.
I need to move items quickly, so only the most basic...
I mean, we got him quite a few licenses already. Let's see. Well, I'm back up to 5k, but obviously, compared to the prices of these things, that's not a whole lot. Okay, got weapons, armor, biotic amp, right? Oh, we can actually sell stuff. Well, that's the first time I noticed those arrows there, down there by the buy and sell text. That means I do have to decide whether I want to convert stuff into Omnigel or sell it for credits. But I mean, selling stuff for like, okay, well, I guess weapons are a bit more valuable, or at least higher rank weapons. I mean, selling something for 24 or 30 credits doesn't even seem to matter at all. Either way, I'm not going to sell anything right now. I also completely forgot what was down here. Ah, right, the engine room. So anything new here? Tali, hey.
Your ship's amazing, Shepard. I've never seen a drive core like this before.
Well?
I can't believe you were able to fit it into a ship this small. I'm starting to understand why you humans have been so successful. I had no idea Alliance vessels were so advanced.
Well, yeah, this is a prototype, so...
The Normandy's a prototype. Cutting-edge technology.
A month ago, I was patching a makeshift fuel line into a converted tug ship in the flotilla. Now, I'm sitting on board one of the most advanced vessels in Citadel space.
Yeah, count yourself lucky.
Thank you again for bringing me along. Traveling on a vessel like this is a dream come true for me.
Well, glad to hear it. Well, that's not why she's here, but there is no rule forbidding her to enjoy.
I had no idea you found ship technology so interesting.
It comes with being a Quarian. The migrant fleet is the key to the survival of my people. Ships are our most valuable resource. But we don't have anything like this. We make do with cast-offs and second-hand equipment. We just try to keep them running for as long as we can. Some of the fleet's larger vessels date all the way back to our original flight from the Geth.
Wow. That's pretty old.
I can't believe your fleet's still using ships that are 3 centuries old.
They're constantly being repaired, modified, and refitted. They aren't pretty, but they work. Mostly. We've tried to make ourselves as independent as possible on the flotilla, grow our own food, mine, and process our own fuel. But some things we just can't make on our own. A patch to maintain the hull integrity requires raw materials we just don't have. That's why our pilgrimages are so important.
Tell me about your people.
Our lives aren't easy. Resources are scarce, and we are constantly on the move. Everything we do must in some way contribute to the continuation of the migrant fleet. There are 17 million Quarians in the flotilla, and each of us relies on the others for survival. The bonds among my people are strong. Unfortunately, we have had to surrender many of the freedoms and civil liberties other species take for granted.
17 million? If that's her entire species, that's not a whole lot of people.
What kind of freedoms?
Well, it's illegal for parents to have more than one child. If our population grows too much, it would strain our resources to their breaking point. Of course, we also can't allow our numbers to become too few. If our population is in decline, the rule against single births is temporarily repealed. In extreme cases of population decline, incentives are even offered to encourage multiple births, though the Conclave hasn't had to take such measures in nearly a century.
Okay.
That's your government.
The Conclave is our civilian branch of government. Each ship can elect a representative to serve on the Conclave and make decisions that affect the fleet as a whole. On matters that affect an individual ship, however, the captain has the final say. It's a tradition that dates back to the early days, when the fleet was governed by martial law. Fortunately, most captains nowadays are smart enough to have an elected council from their crew to give them advice and guidance.
I mean, why wouldn't they be?
So the ultimate power rests with elected officials.
In practice, the Conclave and the respective council for each ship tend to set the rules that govern our daily lives. But in theory, we are still under military jurisdiction. The 5 top-ranking military officials in the fleet serve on the Admiralty Board. These 5 have the power to overrule any decision by the Conclave in case of emergency. To do so requires unanimous agreement among the Admiralty, and they can only do this once. After that, the entire board must resign their posts.
Wow.
It's a safeguard that served us well. In nearly 3 centuries, the Admiralty Board has only overruled the Conclave 4 times.
I mean, that is a drastic method of making sure they only act when it's absolutely necessary, but also pretty effective.
I want to know more about the Geth.
I doubt I can tell you anything you don't already know. It's been almost 3 centuries since they drove my people into exile. All I know is the story of their origins, what they were when we created them, and how they turned on us.
Interesting.
The Geth were originally created to serve as an automated manual labor force. Initially, their intelligence was as limited as any VI. Over time, we made small modifications to their programming to allow them to perform more varied and complex tasks, bringing them closer and closer to true AI status.
How come the Council didn't step in and stop you?
This wasn't true AI research. We may have been skirting the bounds of the law, but we never did anything that was actually illegal. The changes were so insignificant, so gradual, that we were able to control them. Or so we thought. But one thing we underestimated was the power of the neural network. 1 million Geth thinking simultaneously created an inherently unstable matrix.
Yeah, well, I do understand what she means, but I guess let's investigate.
So, the Geth share brain power?
Many of the Geth's logic systems were designed to work in concert with other nearby Geth. Basically, the more of them you have in the group, the smarter they are.
Okay, well, so I guess we were lucky that we were only fighting like 10 of them total. Maybe it was a bit more than 10.
So there's some sort of group consciousness?
No, nothing like that. They cannot share sensory data or information. Their programming cannot handle that much simultaneous input. Each Geth maintains an individual awareness and identity. The neural network only operates on a process-based level. It's basically the synthetic equivalent of a subconscious. But when they're in close proximity, they can coordinate low-level functional processes, freeing up more capacity for original or independent thought.
Yeah, don't really get it either. I mean, they must be... I guess...
That doesn't make any sense.
I'm probably oversimplifying. The Geth are incredibly advanced and complex creations. All you need to know is that they get smarter when they gather in large numbers. As we built more and more Geth, their effective intelligence became more sophisticated, more abstract. One day, a Geth began to ask its Quarian overseer questions about the nature of its existence. Am I alive? Why am I here? What is my purpose? As you can imagine, this caused a near panic among my people.
Yeah, I can imagine, actually. That would be kind of scary. I wonder if there's if this conversation is going to take us significantly different route, depending on what I choose here. I mean, asking why that caused a panic seems silly.
What did you do?
It was inevitable the newly sentient Geth would rebel against their situation. We knew they would rise up against us, so we acted first. A general order went out across all Quarian-controlled systems to permanently deactivate all Geth. The Geth responded to this order violently.
Well, they did.
You can't blame them for fighting for their survival.
We had no other choice.
No, of course not.
The Geth were already on the verge of revolution. By acting quickly, we had a chance to end the war before it began. The hope was that most of the Geth would still be little more than machines, incapable of organized resistance. But they had progressed much further than anyone anticipated. The war was long and bloody. Millions upon millions of Quarians died at their hands. In the end, we were forced to flee our own homeworld. We feared the Geth would pursue us, but they never came beyond the Veil. Now we drift through space, exile searching for a way to reclaim what was once ours.
Okay, well. They did defend themselves, sure. Well, I mean, no one meant for it to come to that. Obviously, mistakes were made, but it's easy to blame in hindsight. I don't want to protect the Geth too much. I don't know. I don't know quite where I stand on this subject, but I'm sure we will have plenty of opportunities to make decisions, make some moral choices in this regard.
I want to know more about the pilgrimage.
When my people reach maturity, we leave our birth ships and seek acceptance with a new crew. It's necessary to maintain genetic diversity among the fleet. But no ship wants to accept someone who will be a burden on them. So, to prove our worth, we embark on a pilgrimage.
Well, we've heard about this
We set out
before.
alone, leaving the flotilla and our families behind us. We only return once we have found something of value we can bring back to the fleet. This is presented as a gift to the captain of the respective ship we wish to join. If the gift is accepted, we are welcomed into the crew.
Can a captain choose to reject the gift?
That doesn't happen often. Most captains are eager to increase the size of their crew. It increases their own standing in our society. Even when a gift is not particularly valuable, the captain usually accepts it out of a sense of tradition. However, there is a stigma to presenting a substandard gift. It's not the best way to make a good impression on a new community. Most pilgrims don't return until they find something worthwhile.
Yeah, that seems to make sense.
I can't believe they just send you off alone.
It's not like they just cast us out. Before we leave, we are given lessons in how to survive outside the flotilla, and given gifts to help us on our journey. We also receive implants to fight off sickness and disease. Generations of living in an isolated and highly controlled environment have left our immune systems weaker than most. By the time we leave the fleet, we are well equipped for the pilgrimage. This is a rite of passage for all Quarians. If it were dangerous, our numbers would suffer. Virtually every pilgrimage ends with a triumphant return and the ritual presentation of the gift to one of the fleet's captains.
Well, that's good to hear. If a little bit, I don't know. Sounds a bit unlikely.
I want to talk about something else.
Like what?
Like goodbye.
I should go.
See you later.
Wow. So many more codex entries. Holy crap.
Hey, Commander, you know that Quarian Tally?
Yeah,
She's been
you know,
spending all her time down
one
here
standing right
asking me
there.
about our engines.
I'll tell her to leave you alone.
What? No, she's amazing. I wish my guys were half as smart as she is. Give her a month on board and she'll know more about our engines than I do. She's got a real knack for technology, that one. I can see why you wanted her to come along.
Didn't? Well, no, I did. It's good that she's useful.
I figured she'd be a real asset to the team.
You got an eye for talent, Commander, but I'm guessing that's not why you came down here.
Well, no, I came looking for codex entries.
Fill me in on the IES stealth systems. How does it work exactly?
You can't hide a ship out in space. They emit too much heat and radiation. Too easy for sensors to pick them up, unless you find a way to capture those emissions.
Right.
So our
We
stealth
read all about
systems trap the energy we give off in storage sinks built into the ship itself. No emissions to give away our location. Eventually the sinks have to be vented. More than a few hours silent running and they overheat.
We're invisible. I mean, not visually invisible. But so long as someone doesn't get close enough to actually be able to see us.
There's no way for anyone to detect us?
A visual scan can still pick us up. Anyone looking out a window can see us plain as day. But you have to be pretty close to get an actual visual out in space.
Exactly.
Most vessels rely on scanners. As long as the stealth systems are engaged, they can't see us. Not unless we accelerate to FTL speeds.
Yeah, of course it does.
Why doesn't it work with faster than light travel?
Cranking up to FTL blue shifts our emissions, pushes them into frequencies too high to capture in the sinks. As soon as we make the jump, it's like setting off a flare. Sensors can pick up our location whenever we enter or exit FTL flight, but for short-range missions, our stealth systems are amazing, and we've got the only one.
Well, actually pretty amazing that no one has thought of this before, right? Because it is technically a pretty simple system. Or, I mean, I guess maybe it's not easy to actually build, but the concept is pretty simple.
I want to know more about the Normandy.
She's the best ship I've ever served on, probably the fastest vessel ever designed, and she's the only one using the new Tantalus drive core.
What's so special about the Tantalus drive core?
Proportionally, it's about twice the size of any other vessel. Not only are we faster, but we can run at FTL speeds longer before we have to discharge the core.
Useful.
Where else have you served, Adams?
If you name a class of Alliance ship, I've probably served on it. Everything from dreadnoughts and carriers right down to frigates like the Normandy.
Ah, frigate.
My last assignment was on the Tokyo. Only a cruiser, but she was a good ship. Couldn't hold a candle to the Normandy, though.
Carry on, Adams.
Aye, aye, Commander.
Wow, so many more codex entries. Holy shit. I mean, judging by the amount of experience I get. I thought it was like 10 experience per codex entry in the beginning? But I surely didn't get 10 entries there. Maybe it's 20 per. Or maybe it depends on the entry. I guess I did look at look through every section of the ship at this point, right? So this should be all there is. Oh wow. Okay, well, let's just go through all this, and I guess this episode is going to become a little long, but I do want to get all this lore stuff out of the way, I suppose. The migrant fleet has little economic base, operating in a state of perpetual hand-to-mouth. While Quarian ships include light manufacturing and assembly plants, they lack heavy industries such as refining and shipbuilding. The fleet has tankers for water purification and oxygen cracking. But the space-intensive nature of agriculture limits food production. A single disaster could destroy the fragile balance. The Quarians earn income in creative ways. Because the government is obliged to provide food, water, air, and medical support for every individual, the Conclave strategically determines the course of the fleet to bring in resources and income. A species who suspects the migrant fleet is heading towards their space often offers a gift of surplus starships, fuel, and resources to convince the Conclave to alter course. Okay. As the fleet passes through a system, swarms of mining vessels work over asteroids for metals and siliceous materials, and cometary bodies for water, ice, and organics. Quarian miners are adept at locating and strip mining spaceborne resources. This sparks conflict with corporations already working the system. Large mining concerns spend millions on lobbyists and public relations portraying the Quarians as locusts, devouring the resources of a system before moving on. The greatest asset of the Quarians is their rarefied skills. Most are experienced miners. Due to their life of perpetual salvage and repair, they are skilled engineers and technicians. More than once, the very corporations that lobby against the Quarians have made backroom deals with the fleet, arranging for skilled Quarians to fill space engineering jobs that other species would demand higher wages for. Quarians are widely hated among the working classes. The Quarians are coming to take our jobs is a common response to the fleet's approach. Wow. This is a little bit too real in certain ways. Also, it just occurred to me, but I'm sure we're going to actually read about this probably in one of these upcoming paragraphs here. Why don't they just, well, either stay in one system, in an uninhabited system, ideally, or unclaimed system, and use up those resources? I mean, with only 17 individuals, that should last them a good long while. Or, even better, just settle on a new planet? I mean, up until very recently, the Geth were not an issue. They had disappeared, like, as far as anyone knew. So they had no reason to stay on the move, basically. They weren't actively hunted. So why not just settle on a new planet? Anyway, Quarian's government. Due to the Quarians' precarious existence and the need to enforce strict rationing, government is somewhat autocratic. The migrant fleet's operations are directed by the Admiralty, a board of 5 military officers who are advised by a legislative body called the Conclave. Right. Each vessel in the fleet has the right to send representatives to the Conclave aboard the flagship. The number of representatives is based on crew size. Larger clans with bigger ships and more votes from the course of political blocks form the course of political blocks. Opposition comes from the Outriders coalition, with delegates from thousands of smaller ships. The Admiralty defers to the Conclave's decision in most circumstances. However, if all 5 members agree that a Conclave decision jeopardizes the survival of the fleet and cannot get the Conclave to address their concerns, they have the right to summarily overturn the legislative decision. After the Admiralty uses this extraordinary power, they must resign. If the Admiralty does not step down after using their veto, the rest of the military is obliged to arrest them. Each ship captain has authority over his vessel, but is advised by an elected civilian council, just as the Admiralty is advised by the Conclave. This relationship may range from cooperation to polite tolerance to outright hostility, but any captain who overrules his council without good reason is relieved of command by the Admiralty. Many Quarian ships are owned by clans who pool their resources to purchase used vessels from private sellers. Large ships are prestigious for big, rich clans, but a small ship means status for a small clan with enough personal wealth to afford a private vessel. Clan vessel captains are not subject to dismissal by the Admiralty. Abusive captains are a family problem if they do not disrupt the operations of the fleet. Well, I guess in those cases, their respective clans or families will find a way to relieve them of their office. The migrant fleet is the largest concentration of starfaring vessels in the galaxy, sprawling across millions of kilometers. It can take days for the entire fleet to pass through a mass relay. When the Quarians fled their homeworld, the fleet was a motley aggregation of freighters, shuttles, industrial vessels, and the odd warship. After 3 centuries, all have been modified to support larger crews as comfortably as possible. As the Quarians achieved stability, they began weeding out the ships least suitable for long-term habitation, selling them and pooling the money to buy larger and more space-worthy hulls. The process is ongoing as vessels wear out and break down. While some ships enjoy dedicated cabins with full privacy and sanitary facilities, many more are former freighters, whose cargo bays and containers are pressurized and divided into family spaces using simple metal cubicle bulkheads. The Quarians enliven these austere spaces with colorful quilts and tapestries, which also help muffle sound. The day-to-day operations of the fleet, traffic control, station keeping, supply distribution, and so on, are under military jurisdiction, though ship captains have the authority to deviate from their assigned positions and may leave the fleet at any time. They are assumed to do so at their own risk. As the migrant fleet moves around the galaxy, many ships split off to pursue individual goals, returning days or years later. Huh. Well, I'm actually surprised they didn't address the issue of why they're keeping on the move like this. Starship's crew considerations. Cabins give each individual 10 cubic meters of space. On larger vessels, private rooms are common. As ships get smaller, the number of crew packed into a single wardroom increases. Asari prefer shared spaces even on large vessels, while Krogan territorial instincts make it impossible for them to cohabitate even on the smallest ships. On smaller vessels, hot bunking Hot bunking is the norm. Crew members assigned to different watches share the same bunk. When one gets off duty, he wakes up the person in the bunk. While that crewman is on duty, the first gets his rack time. Spacecraft compartments can be isolated by airtight doors in case of decompression. The cinematic vision of explosive decompression is fiction. Whole compartments either take enough damage that occupants are killed instantly, or leak slowly enough that they are able to reach protective gear. Compartments are equipped with emergency life support apparatus. Fireproof plastic bubbles with air bottles, small when stowed ELSA, comfortably accommodate one individual inflated. Damage control procedure cuts off ventilation to burning compartments. Without oxygen to consume, fires die in seconds. The compartment is repressurized afterwards for crew recovery. Mass effect fields create an artificial gravity (AGRAV) plane below the decks, preventing muscle atrophy and bone loss in 0G. 0G, huh. Interesting way to spell that. Large vessels arrange their decks perpendicular to their thrust axis. The highest decks are at the bow, and the lowest at the engines. Bow or bow? This allows a grav to work with the inertial effects of thrust. Ships that can land arrange their decks laterally, so the crew can move about while the vessel is on the ground. Warships normally turn off their A-grav systems during combat, reducing the heat generated by systems and increasing combat endurance. To provide a point of reference for navigation in 0G, floors are painted a different color from the walls and ceiling. Well, the trend definitely continues of very well thought out and yeah, just very well thought out background technology and all that. Ships and vehicles.
Faster than larger warships are generally classified in one of 4 weights. Frigates are small, fast ships used for scouting and screening of larger vessels. Frigates often operate in wolf-pack flotillas. Cruisers are middleweight combatants, faster than dreadnoughts and more heavily armed than frigates. Cruisers are the standard patrol unit and often lead frigate flotillas. Dreadnoughts are kilometer-long capital ships mounting heavy, long-range firepower. They are only deployed for the most vital missions. Carriers are dreadnought-sized vessels that also carry large numbers of fighters. Smaller vessels are almost exclusively used in a support role to the warships during combat. Fighters are one-man craft used to perform close-range attacks on enemy ships. Interceptors are one-man craft optimized for destroying opposing fighters.
Okay. Not really new information, but well, yeah, just that. All right. Yeah, I think. What the hell? Oh, Garrus! I didn't even see him there. Just blending in with the background perfectly, somehow. I think I've seen everything now. At any rate, this episode is pretty long. I usually try to stay under an hour with these, just so they don't seem too intimidating, I guess. I was really not expecting to do so much talking and reading in this one, but I guess I should have. Yeah, I've definitely been everywhere. So next time I'm going to actually check out this galaxy map and hopefully start this game for real. Yeah. So for the time being, I thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment, and I shall see you real soon. Also, get ready for the docking. Bye bye.